Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 2 of Having a Ball, a podcast that now officially has more seasons than I have balls.
That doesn't take a lot, though, Joe.
Well, yeah, that's true. There are many a show, though, that were cancelled pretty quick and never even got to Season 2.
Although we are our own producers. So if one of us said this is cancelled, that would be like an awkward setting.
It would be. It could have been cancelled for health reasons, though, I guess.
This is true. But, we're still here, plugging away, 2022, the new year.
Absolutely, but as you'll hear shortly, I was mostly unplugged. I had tons of plugs in me this week, but they're all unplugged now.
Yes. For those of you who are wondering why Joe's voice might sound a little different, it's because he's acquired a new sound. What am I trying to say?
We'll get to it more precisely later, but it has something to do with difference in pressure inside my neck and outside and pressing on my vocal cords. But had we done this show about 2 days ago, I would have sounded like this. It really felt like I was using helium the other day.
You're more than welcome to just carry on in this episode with that voice if you want to.
Yeah, let's, I don't know. Maybe.
Let's do this, Joe.
Anyway, we're back with Season 2.
Yes.
Which, as people will soon find out, as you'll all soon find out, it's not starting quite as we had expected.
But there are no sequels that are calm and collected. All sequels are dramatic and more effects and more death and more gore and more nastiness.
Well, that's true. Well, so far there's just as much death in this season as last season, which is zero, and we hope to keep it that way, but you never know.
True.
But so last season, which was basically 2 weeks ago, we left you off. I was going to go into the hospital a few days later to get RPLND surgery along my cava vein by my spine.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen.
Yeah, they sent you home, right? After about 30 seconds?
Yeah, it was more like 4 hours, but exactly. So on the 4th of January, I went to Bern to the Inselspital. I got set up. I met the nurses who came and explained to me everything that was going to happen. Then I met the anesthesiologist who told me all the ways they could screw up and kill me.
They actually said that?
No, he didn't say it like that, but he had to give me all the risks that they have to do. And so basically most of those risks is because they're working, or they would have been working next to my cava vein, which is a big vein which can if you nick it, it can be a bit of a problem.
But how did they phrase it? I know they said it in French or German or whatever, but was it like, this could go wrong and you have to know the risk, or?
Yeah, it was basically that. He said, as you're aware, we have to tell you the risks. These are things that don't happen very often, but there can be... He never said, we could screw up and cut the wrong thing, but he said, well, you could have a lesion on your aorta, or a lesion on your vein, or a lesion on this, which I took to mean a lesion if they happen to cut the wrong place, which I perfectly understand that can happen. I mean, doctors are human. They don't know. Suddenly if there's blood gushing, whatever, they have to make quick decisions. I perfectly understand that it happens, although it's very rare, as he explained, but have to be aware that it was a possibility.
But that was a conversation about an operation that didn't happen, right?
Well, exactly. So this anesthesiologist came in, he explained all that. Then one of the surgeons came in and explained the procedure, showed me a picture of my body and said, we're going to go in through here and this is where we're going to cut. Do you understand everything? I said, sure. It was all good, and basically he said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. So then I whipped out my balls, my fake balls. I figured I'm in a urology center. They're going to kick out of this, and he loved it.
Oh, yeah, the Christmas ornament, not your actual balls.
No, not my actual balls. The Christmas ornament, which those who haven't seen it, you can see in the last episode. And my friends who made it were quite pleased, because this was a prestigious urologist who took them in his hand, and he thought they were very lifelike and realistic.
Nice.
So basically he then left, and the plan was, this is 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and the plan was, well, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 or 7 for the operation. And so I wandered around the hospital, went to the cafeteria with my book, came back up, sat in my bed, and suddenly that urologist came back in with the head of urology for the whole place, who was actually going to be my surgeon. And as soon as they walked in, the way they looked at me, I knew something was up. And they sat down and they said, ha, who. Well,
That's a good way to start any conversation.
well, yeah, it's called, I think that's called hemming and hawing. They hemmed and hawed a little. And then said, well, we've been looking at your x-rays again and your scans again. And there's actually something in your lung that bothers us. Mm-hmm. And we realized that it's probably more important to take care of that first. And the reasoning was they didn't know yet because they couldn't tell exactly what it was in the lung. But they said it might need chemo first, unless it can be operated on. And the problem was if they went through with the planned operation, the RPLND, I would have to it would take a while to recover from that, which could potentially put off starting the chemo. Mm-hmm. So they didn't want to make that decision. And it wasn't just him. He went and spoke to some other urologists and other oncologists in Bern. And they said, no, I think it's best that we put this off. So basically, 4 hours after getting there, my parents came back and picked me up and I went home.
Okay.
Which was weird because there was, I guess, a slight feeling of relief because, hey, I'm not going to be chopped up tomorrow morning.
Fair.
But at the same time, I'd been mentally prepared and I was okay with the operation, I think. So I was ready for it. So I was like, oh no, this is going to take a while.
But the thing they found on your lung, was this something new or something they had overlooked earlier?
I don't quite know yet.
Okay.
I'll find out more about that next week. But so anyway, basically they sent me home and said, we'll talk about it in our tumor board, which is what they call it. Every Monday, the different specialists from departments look over the different cases and you have, I don't know, urologists, neurologists, thoracic surgeons, everybody gives their opinion to make the best decision. Mm-hmm. So, which is pretty good. I had some of the greatest medical minds, I guess, in Switzerland looking at my balls and trying to figure out what to do.
Or your lungs?
And okay, they were looking at my lungs, but it doesn't sound as sexy.
I was going to make a joke about having your balls sucked up into your lungs out of fear, but, it didn't work.
It didn't work. No. But so anyway, they then sent me home and told me they would talk it over and I would find out soon, which is always a bit of a pain because soon isn't very precise. And so I just hung out at home for a while without knowing. And very lucky for me, I was going to go to the movies last Monday. And at the last minute, decided not to and to go eat at my parents' instead, which was a good thing because about what would have been halfway through the movie, I get a call from a surgeon in Bern. So this is last Monday. Mm-hmm. This is less than a week ago. Last Monday, he calls me at 6 p.m. and they just had their tumor board and said, well, we've been looking at your case today. He was German. An actual German.
Bitte ja.
We've been looking at your case and what we want to do is go into your lung and get a piece of the tumor so we can do a biopsy.
Get a piece of the tumor?
That's the way he put it.
Wouldn't it be nice just to remove the whole tumor?
Well, maybe they could remove the whole tumor. I'm really, as I've told you before, I don't listen to everything they say, and I probably don't ask most of the questions. But anyway, they wanted to be able to biopsy it to then find out if I need chemotherapy, if I need an operation.
Okay.
And so I say, sure. When can we do this? He says, well, if you got time, we can do it Wednesday.
So 2 days later.
This is on the Monday evening,
Yeah.
2 days later. He said, I could perfectly understand if you'd rather wait because if it's a bit too quick. And I said, no, because let's get this over with. Which meant that this was on Thursday, this was on the Monday at 6. I had to be at the hospital the next day at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So I accepted, hung up, then started regretting having accepted.
Why?
Well, because as I said, the last operation, I had a couple of weeks to get used to the idea and I was mentally ready. Uh-huh. And then suddenly I just got really nervous that evening. It was like, tomorrow already? I should have waited. I should have had a little bit more time to mull this over, just to think it over. At the same time, realizing that it was probably better to just get it over and done with.
Yes.
So the next morning, my dad drove me back to Bern. Went in at 10:30 in the morning, had blood taken, my pressure taken, met the nurses. They brought me into my hospital room where I had a very nice neighbor. Lucky for me, was also from Neuchâtel, so he actually spoke French.
Okay.
This is on the thoracic wing of the hospital. Met everybody, met the doctor this time, who came and explained the procedure. He said, well, we're going to cut a hole in your chest and go in with a tube and a camera or whatever and root around in there for a bit, pull it out, patch it up, and basically said, this was on the Tuesday, you can probably come out Thursday or Friday of the hospital. You should be okay to go home.
Yeah.
And the operation was at about, I guess, 11 in the morning on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. They came and got me and rolled me down. And as I said, this is a huge hospital. I was up on floor 16. They rolled me down to the operating ring, which I was surprised. All the operating room sort of looked to me like like meat lockers in a restaurant or something. They have this big metal door with a thing that looks airtight and rolled me in there, which is always kind of weird being rolled in, just looking up. It's not sort of a point of view you have very often.
Were there corpses hanging from hooks around the room?
Luckily, there weren't, no. That was a pretty good thing. And then met these very nice, the anesthesiology team, which one woman had her dad was from Mississippi, and the other woman spoke like this with a wonderfully brilliant British accent because she had been a nanny in Britain.
Brilliant.
And what's funny is I remember at the time I had the urge to start talking with the same accent as her. And since I basically don't remember anything after that moment, maybe I did.
Nice.
I don't even know.
So while you were waiting for the anesthesia to kick in, you turned into a frumpy British lump of weirdness?
Possibly.
Cool.
Mary Poppins or something.
Tally-ho. I'm drifting away now.
Well, it's exactly like the last time. I don't remember drifting away at all.
That's the whole point of anesthesia, but yeah.
But I mean, I've often heard people say they'll remember they were told to count down from 10 and don't remember anything after 9. The last thing I remember is having this conversation and feeling fine with them, and then waking up in the wake-up room, as they call it.
Maybe they gave you the anesthesia before you noticed.
Probably. That's one of my nurse friends figures they probably do that. They're probably actually lying when they say they haven't given it to you yet.
Yeah, and you're like, all right.
So in any case, that was pretty painless. This is about 11. Then I woke up, and again, like last time, it's weird. I don't remember slowly waking up. I sort of suddenly was awake.
Yeah.
And was in this wake-up room where there's a nurse for about an hour and a half, was never more than about 5 meters from me. Mm-hmm. Kept checking in on me, making sure everything's okay, and I basically felt pretty good.
Her job was to look over you at all times?
Yeah, exactly.
That's nice.
And so at this point, and I have a catheter coming out of my left wrist, catheter coming out of my right wrist, a tube coming out of my chest, and I had tubes hooked up to my legs because both of my legs had these, I don't know what you'd call them, these sort of weird inflatable socks on them that would inflate and deflate and inflate and deflate to get my blood circulating.
It sounds like they're turning you into a superhero somehow.
Yeah, maybe. So I had every limb hooked up, and this is a bit of a pain, but I didn't feel too bad.
Uh-huh.
So then at about 8, they rolled me back to my room and gave me dinner. And I ate dinner.
Like normal food?
Normal food, yeah.
Okay.
Fork, knife. It was like, it wasn't the best dinner in the world. I can't remember what it was, but it was fine. And I was hungry enough because I hadn't eaten all morning.
Uh-huh.
Was feeling okay. Started watching a movie or something.
And then?
Yeah, exactly. And then, that's the point when we'd cut to a commercial if it was a TV show.
And say, hide your kids, hide your wife.
Exactly, because that's when things started to go a little awry.
To say it mildly.
Yeah, I started feeling some pain in my back of my shoulder. And I already felt some at first, which they had explained that's normal. First of all, you've been operated on in your lung. And also, apparently, the position they have me in to operate on, they have my arm pulled back so that can actually give you some muscle problems. And, okay, it started getting worse and worse. And I was like, oh, this is hurting. And I called the nurse. I said, yeah, this is really getting painful. Is there anything we can do? And she said, oh, okay. And she gave me some OxyContin and said this should work pretty quickly. About 10 minutes later, it was the opposite. It was just getting worse. So I said, yeah, this is really getting bad. They gave me another OxyContin. Didn't help. Gave me a third one. And now it was really, really, really painful. And I mean, it was starting to become the worst pain I've ever felt, I think. It was just like my whole shoulder, lung, this side, it was like pain. The whole thing. I couldn't tell where. They were asking, where does it hurt? It's just everywhere. And I started somewhat screaming, which I think you can attest to. I, for some reason, sent you a video of me screaming. You
sent me 2 videos, yeah, of that looked somewhat shocking.
I haven't dared watch them, actually.
I mean, we spoke, you were surprisingly, you must have a good texting function on your phone because you were surprisingly, you texted very well for being in extreme pain, but then you sent the videos and I was like, you're actually dying. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, another friend thought it was very weird that because I was telling him about this, that I texted with you, and I said it did help to slightly take my mind off it.
Yeah.
If you had been sitting there, I wouldn't have been able to explain things as well because I was in so much pain. But yeah, so I started screaming pretty loudly sorry to my neighbor in my room, 'cause it must have been a bad night for him. And so then my nurse this time said, okay, we're going to call the pain doctor.
Was that the name? The pain
That's
doctor?
what they called him, the pain doctor, which I spoke to him again the next day. I told him he should probably call himself a relief doctor if he wants to make any friends or something. So he came and said, do you want morphine? Or rather, he didn't even say, do you want morphine? He said, I'm going to give you some morphine and set it up with one of those buttons you can press it yourself. Uh-huh. And I said, sure.
You probably said...
And I probably said, Arr!
Yeah.
Exactly.
And your neck was the size of the rest of your body at this point, for anyone who's wondering.
This is true. Because that's when he was going to set this up. And then he touched me around here and said, oh, I think you're full of air.
Did you say pull my finger? Did you seize the opportunity for comedy?
Sadly, I didn't. I think, although I've tried to make jokes to most of the doctors and nurses all along, I'm pretty sure for those 2 hours I made no jokes.
All right.
But so he went to get a thoracic doctor who came and pressed me and was like, oh yeah, there's air in your body. And he basically explained, so that's what's being so painful, is that there's a difference in pressure. Means there's probably a leak from the lung. More air in the body, meaning that the lung is being compressed.
So your lung goes like this and your body goes like this, and that turns into pain in the rest of your body-ish?
Yeah, that sounds like a doctor would probably explain it differently, but that's how I would say it, yeah.
Okay.
And so he came and did some stuff to get some of that air out, which actually made things even more painful for a while. And as he explained, it's because then my lung was reinflating. And the lung has apparently a lot of nerve endings on them.
By itself, or was something like pumped into it? The lung?
Well, I think it's more because they were releasing the air from my chest cavity.
And like a
which
valve?
lowers the pressure.
Like a...
I'm not exactly sure how he did it, actually. Probably, actually, I think so, because I had the tube come out of me, the drain, as they call it.
Okay.
And I think he turned up the pressure on that so it would suck out more air, lower the pressure in my chest, and therefore allow the lung to expand again.
But it wasn't like when you release the valve of an inflated animal or anything, like a bath toy, and then it... like that, yeah.
It probably actually was kind of similar to that. And so then he decided they had to check what was up, so they rolled me downstairs. This is now 2 a.m. to get an x-ray. And so again, go down to this huge hospital where we didn't see anybody else. I probably woke up most people along the way because I was still in huge amounts of pain. They had me stand up and hold on to this x-ray machine to get it. It was horrendous. Got the x-ray, then sent me back up to my room, hooked me up to the morphine pump. And then it was still quite painful. This is 3 a.m, but I guess the morphine works because I could press it as much as I want.
I'm still very impressed that you managed to talk to me during this entire endeavor. I would have been preoccupied with dying if it was me, but you were like, this is happening now. Very impressive.
Yeah, but I really think that I was thankful that you don't sleep and were awake and actually answered me.
Well, we know from previous episodes that I don't sleep, so I'm very flexible in terms of helping Swiss inflated patients when they need attention.
But although it was horrendous, the pain, I think it was a little bit easier because I had my mind slightly off it because of you.
All right.
I can't remember if you made any jokes. I should go back and look. You probably did.
I made a lot of jokes. I called you Nicolas Cage at some point.
Well, yeah, because then I showed you the picture of me all inflated.
Yeah.
Yes, Nicolas Cage. I like that one.
Our jokes go neck and neck here and a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah.
Yes, you asked me if I was turning into a nocturnal animal like you. But surprisingly, at about 8 or 9 in the morning, and I was still hitting away at the morphine button.
Were you told to limit that as much as you could? Or did you have like gung-ho, press it as much as you want?
They said, press it as much as you want. You can't OD on it because it's limited in itself.
Okay.
It won't give me more than whatever I'm allowed per hour or per 5 minutes or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I couldn't just suck on it and get it all in one go or anything. But and they said, really, don't worry about pressing it too much. That's what it's there for. You don't want to get pain, just press it as much as you need.
Do you have any idea of how, when you press the button, how quickly do you feel less pain? For those of us who have never tried a morphine trip.
I don't know. And that's the one other thing. I think there was a design flaw in their machine. Because, so you press it, and if you press it again right away, it doesn't give you any more right that second.
Uh-huh.
But I think it should make you think it did. Because I could tell when I pressed, you could tell the times it was giving you morphine because it went blib, 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 blib. And you could tell the time it was just like, no, you've had enough.
Ah, okay.
Which I figured that it would probably be smarter to have the like placebo effect of at least me thinking I'm getting it every time I press.
That is actually a good point.
But anyway, after about 9 in the morning, I started using it less and less. And like at 10, I actually got up and walked around the hospital for a bit. Still in pain and a little bit, but nothing compared to what it was during the night. And I think the last time I actually used it at all was like noon on that Thursday.
Okay.
Then the physiotherapist came in to give me some breathing exercise. She said she was amazed that I had actually already walked around because she had heard about my night and she figured I would be completely out of it. And she was like, what, you already walked around? I was like, yeah. And then she put her hands on my chest to check my breathing. And she said she expected to only really feel me breathing in the healthy lung. But she said, no, it's pretty much the same in both sides. She was very impressed.
Okay.
And I never took any more.
So the lung that was deflated, is that the lung with the thingy in it, the tumor or whatever it is? Or is it just
That's
random
the lung,
coincidence?
yes. No, that's that one exactly. Where it turns out they didn't just take out tumor. Because of where the tumor was placed, wrapped around the lobe of my lung, they took out a lobe of my lung as well.
A lobe of your lung. On behalf of everyone else, what does that mean?
Well, your lung is made up of these. I'm not very good at it. There's different parts to it, sections?
Uh-huh.
And one of them I don't have anymore now.
Was that an accident, or were they meaning to take out a lobe of your lung?
But no, they had to take it out just because they couldn't get to the tumor without doing that.
Ah, all right.
And so basically they told me I have about 10% less lung capacity than I did.
But if you, if they have to go in for the actual tumor again, do they have to remove more shit? Or
I don't think so.
Can they go in some other route?
I don't think they'd have to remove more lung normally. Okay. But as the doctor told me, and so far I guess it's true, he said you won't really notice the difference.
Okay.
'Cause I don't think most of us are actually, unless you're like maybe a high-class sportsman, you're probably not using 100% lung capacity.
This is true.
So then I'm lying here and slowly they unconnected my leg pumps. So that was nice. I only had my arms connected. Plus this drain tube coming out of my body into a pump where I could sort of see gross red juice coming out of it.
Leaky juice.
Leaky juice. I sent you a picture of that too, didn't I?
Yeah.
I thought it could be a good cocktail, the Joe's Metropolitan. Also, as we said, I was getting fat. You could see my head was fat, my throat was fat, my vocal cords were being compressed.
Yeah.
And that's because I had something which is called subcutaneous emphysema.
As you do.
Which basically means air under your skin.
All right, so but your neck is still kind of swollen and your voice is still kind of not the way it's supposed to be.
He told me that would probably take a week before it's completely back to normal.
Okay.
But I have less and less air in me because it's very bizarre. Then when I was going to be discharged yesterday, so they took the tube out and they put a bandage on me. And then about 20 minutes later, I noticed the bandage had an air bubble. And I called the nurse and said, yeah, I think there's an air bubble on my bandage. And she said, oh, wait. And she put a syringe in, took out the air and patched it up again. Mm-hmm. And then the doctor came. This was really the moment he was going to let me go. This is about half an hour after at noon. And I said, yeah, there's an air bubble again. And it was now quite big. And he was like, oh yeah, okay, you've got air coming out of your hole.
Okay.
Which does sound weird. So he pumped it out again too and put a new patch and put it down nice and flat. And then he let me leave at 1 o'clock yesterday. But at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, there was a big pouch of air. It was like I had a pillow under my arm. And the whole, I don't know, the bandage is maybe this big.
Uh-huh.
He had said when he took it out, it was about 150 milliliters of air. This was probably another 150 or 200.
So you should actually have a valve that you can just open.
That would have been easier. I thought so too. If I'd put a valve in, yeah. But instead I went to see my wonderful nurse friend, Sarah, mm-hmm. and she changed the patch for me. And she said it was very funny because the doc had also asked me to cough a little bit when he had it off because that would expel the air through that hole. And she thought this was very neat when she was looking at it. She said cough, and I would cough, and it would make bubbles.
That is
And there's
amazing.
even a point when I was by myself, before she changed it, so the pouch was pretty big, I coughed and my chest farted.
Nice.
Like literally, I felt a...
You're like a human whoopee cushion.
Yeah, exactly. Call me Goldberg.
Whoopee. Funny joke. So, but there's still air in there.
There's still air, but not much. And every time it took longer to sort of fill up. And now she changed it yesterday evening for me at like 6 o'clock. And this morning there was no air under the pouch.
Okay.
There was juice leaking though.
Good old juice.
So I got it changed again. And it wasn't any of that good kale juice or anything.
So we have fruit juice, vegetable juice, Joseph juice, Orthodox juice. We have all sorts of juice.
I love it. Nice. But so now it's looking pretty good. Considering 3 days ago I had guys rooting around inside my lung. I now just have a small patch under my arm. I feel some discomfort, and I'm still taking painkillers, but not even oxy, just pretty mild painkillers. And I feel discomfort, but more because of the scar. I can breathe deeply, which was the main thing. When he let me go, he knew that it wasn't leaking from my lung anymore. It was just air that was already in the body. And yeah, I can breathe pretty deeply, which is what I'm supposed to do once an hour. Take 10 deep breaths, sort of.
Was that the thing the breathing expert taught you?
Exactly. It was pretty simple. Just take deep breaths. She told me it would hurt a little bit, but that was normal, and to like put my hand over it to make it move a little bit less while I'm doing it.
Okay.
Same thing if I feel I'm going to cough, I'm better off sort of holding it in place, and then and I barely feel it.
All right.
She was also thrilled when I said that like I coughed and had phlegm. She was like, "Oh, that's great. Did you swallow it?" I was like, "Yeah." "Oh, that's great. Things are clearing up."
Nice.
I've never been so yeah, it's nice being congratulated on your inner fluids.
Good stuff. All right, so we're recording this on a Sunday. You will have the answers on the biopsy of the tumor in your lung on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that.
Exactly. They're doing again. They're getting the results probably tomorrow, and then they have their tumor board again this week, where all the experts will discuss it. And last time they phoned me on the Monday evening, but that's I think just because they had room for the operation, and they wanted to hurry. I kind of expect this time they'll probably phone me the next day.
You will find out whether or not you're doing a new chemo run or if they want to just go in and go to town on your tumor.
Exactly. Or if now they decide, well, maybe we can do the thing by the cava vein first. I don't know. It's a big surprise.
All right.
We've started season 2, but it sort of seems like we're the writers for Lost, and we have no idea where this is going. We'll just make this shit up as we go along.
Yes, but I mean, we were worried, disregarding your frail health situation for a second, we were worried about season 2 because it looked chipper for a while there. And now we have a little plot twist to make it interesting. And then hopefully it cruises back into normal. So we're going to have additional characters and new story arcs and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think we will. I'm pretty sure there'll be lots to say in this new season. Because,
Yes.
we'll be back at the Inselspital pretty soon, I imagine.
Uh-huh.
At least for one operation, maybe 2. If I do chemo, that will likely be here in Neuchâtel because it's closer. And now all my doctors in Neuchâtel are coming back from holiday tomorrow, so I'll also be able to have their opinion, which will be quite nice.
Remember the first ever episode we made where most people said it was so sad and it was so dark? This has been like twice as dark and twice as sad.
It was and more gory.
Yes.
And 20% more Joseph juice. I guess 20% less now that it's all been sucked out of straw through my chest.
Dramatic. But I'm very pleased, considering I saw you more or less live 2-3 days ago and you both said and sort of uttered that this is the worst thing I've ever done, or this is the most horrible thing I've ever endured. I'm very glad to see that you're alive and kicking and doing a stupid podcast episode 3 days later.
Me too. I must say I'm impressed with the doctors, but also just with the human body, that literally 12 hours after I sent you those videos and feeling so horrible, I pretty much felt okay.
Or maybe you're in a coma and we're talking to your ghost right now.
Ooh. This is the moment before I die, and I just saw my whole life flash before me. And
Not necessarily die. That's too dramatic. But you might be in a coma somewhere in the basement of in whatever it's called, the incel hospital.
Incel hospital.
Yeah, and then this is like a Christmas Carol.
This is the ghost of cancer past.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And the most original thing you planned to do with your ghost was to go and visit me again. Bigger dreams, Joe. Have bigger dreams.
Nah. You are my dream, boy.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Probably the whole bandage will come off in about 3-4 more days. I won't even have a bandage. And I'll probably be able to have I would find it interesting to be able to go into the bath and see if my chest farts again. Because that would be neat.
What if this becomes your new party trick forever?
Yeah, maybe at the end of all this, I could have several party chicks do that and then be like, look at this, I can whack my ball with a hammer and hit the fake ball.
Just please remember which one is the real one and which one is the fake one.
I'll put true.
Yeah, mark it with a magic marker. Hit here.
That sounds like a plan.
This has been dramatic and by far the least funny episode of Having a Ball ever.
One thing that I did find funny is almost the last thing my doctor said to me before releasing me. He suddenly said, because I now take my fake balls everywhere with me, my Christmas ornament.
Yeah.
And I had showed it to a nurse, and I also showed her our video, my trailer of Philippe, the action movie.
Yeah.
And then the last thing the doctor said before I leave, he said, I was told you have some funny friends that made you something. Can I see it too? So I had to whip out my fake balls, and he loved it.
You should have it on a chain around your neck. Like a ball and chain.
My old ball and chain. I like it. My old ball and chain. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think I might do that.
All right.
But yeah, we're hoping the next episodes will be able to be funny again.
Well, yeah. But obviously, now we're back to people are actually not excited. That's the wrong word. But worried and really want to know the results instead of just hearing us coming up with stupid pop cultural references that might relate to a health situation.
I mean, everything went pretty well, although it was sort of dramatic, as you say, and it was very painful. And I guess I'm healthier now than I was a week ago. Or at least closer to the end of this than I was a week ago.
We are all closer to the end than we were a week ago.
I knew you were going to say that.
All right, we'll keep you posted, everyone. I think we'll cut the cord here. Release the air.
Remember to like and subscribe and to share this with everybody you know.
Yeah, we keep saying that and nobody does it.
Nobody does it. We've stayed at 266 subscribers for a little while.
Yes.
Make that number explode like my old testicle.
Well, we are doing a press release.
That'll be coming soon, which I wanted to do sooner, but then I haven't yet. But I will. Try and get a few more people talking about this, a few more people touching their balls, a few more people getting diagnosed earlier than I did.
The ideal thing would be people touching their balls while they're watching this.
Because they can. That's what I'm doing.
Well, you're apparently knocking your fake ball with a hammer while doing this.
Which was too bad I didn't have the same anesthesiologist as last time. Because there's some kind of joke about the guy looking like Freddie Mercury and I could be waiting for the hammer to fall, I guess. But
nice.
I don't know.
Nice.
That's sort of lame.
All right. Awkward. They removed your funny bone in the operation.
Nobody told me that was a risk.
If they had said that on before the operation, you would have said, "Nope, send me home. It's all I have."
Absolutely, I'd be. I'll take my chances with the cancers. Yeah.
I'm just laughing out of politeness now because you don't have a funny bone, so nothing you say is funny.
Yeah, exactly. But I have a sympathy bone now.
Oh, that's nice. All right, everyone, share, please, and like, and comment. That's always nice. If you want us to talk about anything else, if there's something you want more information about, please let us know. Because we're just assuming that you love everything we talk about.
I did love one comment on the last episode. Somebody said, more Hitler accents, please.
More Hitler accents? Jawohl!
So we will be back very soon.
We will be back with a new episode. Ah, yes.
Bye bye.
Schnell mit ja. All right. Let's call it quits. See you soon. Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye bye.